Good afternoon. On Friday, August 27, 2021 at 10:22 a.m. Officers of the Elkhart Police Department were dispatched to 514 West High Street in regards to a shooting with injuries. A male suspect and a female were in a verbal dispute, and during the dispute, the male suspect fired a handgun at the female and the residents. As a result of the gun being fired, a approximately 2-year-old child was shot, causing the child's death. A description of the suspect and the vehicle, he fled and was broadcast to responding officers. Minutes later, an officer observed the suspect vehicle in the area of South 7th Street and Wolf Avenue. As other officers arrived in the area, a subject matching the description officers were provided of the suspect was observed walking in an alley. Officers made contact with the suspect and attempted to gain his compliance. At that time, an event, which those details are still unknown at this time, unfolded. During that event, an officer of the Elkhart Police Department discharged his service weapon, striking the suspect, causing his death. Law enforcement has secured both scenes. They are still active, and the Elkhart County Homicide Unit will be conducting both investigations. The officer has been placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. I'll take a few questions from all of you at this point.
And is there body camera footage?
There is body camera footage right now that's still being gone through by the Elkhart County Homicide Unit, so they will have access to that.
Is there another outside agency investigating this?
I don't know the answer to that question right now.
When you say one or multiple, or you can't?
I don't know the answer to that question right now.
Very well.
Is this going to trigger an outside agency investigating this shooting?
The Elkhart County Homicide Unit is considered an outside agency. It's made up of officers from the Elkhart Police Department, the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department, the Goshen Police Department, and the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office. Great care is taken to make sure that officers of the Elkhart Police Department that are assigned to that will not be the primary investigators in this case.
How do officers deal with something like this, the death of a child?
It's tough. Anybody that responds to these type of scenes, anybody that investigates them, it's tough on them to process. We have mechanism in place to debrief those with our chaplains and our mental health specialists here at the department. So that'll be happening in the next few days to anybody that was involved in this to be able to process that.
Chief, I was out at the scene and already hearing from people. I heard from two separate groups of people. They're worried. They're saying the police shot this guy. They're trying to cover it up. All this kind of stuff. That's sort of already in the works right now. What would you say to sort of those claims? Being made?
That they're ridiculous. A 2-year-old child was killed. Our officers responded. They were given a description of the suspect. They located him and they engaged him.
Did this person, when the officers came in contact with them, did they see a weapon of any kind?
I don't know that at this point.
Do you know anything about his demeanor on the scene? What he was like? Was he yelling? Was he screaming?
The initial call that went out was that there was some type of altercation in the middle of the street. That's all we have from the dispatch calls.
And that's at the High Street location?
That's correct.
The location where the person was shot, what was he like? Any idea? Was he yelling at police?
I don't have that information right now. That will come out of witness interviews and the body cam footage.
Was the officer injured?
I'm sorry?
Was the officer injured?
The officer is not injured. The officer is doing fine physically, mentally. These things can sometimes take days, weeks, months to have an effect. So physically fine. The rest of our officers are fine. No bystanders were injured. So, but we still lost a 2-year-old child. So it's terrible. It's tragic.
How long was the officer on the force?
I don't have that information right now. We're not releasing the officer information. That'll be forthcoming.
Okay. I'm sorry, I think you said this already, but is this leave paid or unpaid?
It's paid.
So it's Friday afternoon. When could we expect details on the officer and other identities?
I anticipate that will probably be tomorrow. After this initial press conference, we'll release information on the officer, and at that point, all information will come from the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office, which the Elkhart County Homicide Unit works under that umbrella.
So are you looking for anybody else?
I'm sorry?
Are you looking for anybody else right now?
No, there are no outstanding suspects that we have knowledge of at this point.
So it's your belief that the man that was shot by one of your officers is the man who shot the 2-year-old?
Yes.
And this was a domestic altercation, right?
That was what the call that went out on the radio was, but again, those facts are still not clear. That will come out of the investigation.
Have you found a weapon?
I'm sorry?
Have you found a weapon?
I don't know that information right now.
And it's early yet, but did this individual have a criminal record?
I don't have that information right now as well. That's all of these type of intimate details will be part of the investigation that's ongoing right now, and those are not going to be released.
Chief of Police, what was it like when you heard this call, got the details? What went through your mind? What did you think and feel?
Well, I went to it. I had 2 captains with me. We had left the meeting, and we responded to the scene, and we were actively involved in it. That's the way it should be.
The 2-year-old, was it? Do you know how many times, or do you know was it a boy or a girl?
I don't know that information. I'm sorry.
Were they shot multiple times, or just?
I don't have that information.
Do you know if they died on the scene or at the hospital?
I'm not clear on that. I know our medics transported, so I don't know the actual timing of it.
About a message to the community about gun violence. What do you want to say to people when something like this so tragic happens? What's your message?
Stop. There's better ways to solve this, okay? This is not what our community wants. This is not what our police department wants. What kind of community do we want? Stop. There's better ways to handle things.
Prosecutor Becker, I don't know if you can speak for the prosecutor's office, since you guys are going to be doing this investigation, but I mean, what's that going to entail, and what are the next steps for your office as you're investigating this officer-involved shooting?
So next steps involve an extensive investigation where there will be individuals that are interviewed. Any available audio or video, of course, will be followed up upon. And then the steps of corroborating or contradicting information will be the priority in the investigation. Obviously, this takes time, but it's an all-hands-on-deck type of situation. So it's evolving, and it will continue to evolve until we get to the point where we've been able to corroborate or contradict the information that we have received.
Have you gotten a chance to view the body cam video yourself?
No, I will not involve myself in the investigation at that level at this point. That's not my role. I'm merely here to make sure they have the resources they need, and at this point in time, they are definitely utilizing the resources of the entire community, and it has been a very welcome support group.
Hey Chief, what was your timeline when you got the first call on Franklin, or of Vistula, to Wolf?
I'll give you an estimation. It was less than 5 minutes between the 2 events.
Do you know approximately what time the first call came in?
10:22 a.m. I have a couple closing remarks. I'd like to extend Elkhart Police Department's condolences to the family of this child. Sorry that this happened, and just ask that everybody keep that family and the officers that were involved in this in their thoughts and prayers. Thank you.